Alright, so here we are, part 3. So what we're going to do then is carry on down his body. So I've got the cocoa here, and I think the best way to tackle all of this would be to put the darker bits in first. So you know, all the darker brown bits, and then go from there. So I'm going to concentrate on this area here first. I will need a darker colour than the cocoa, but this would be a good place to start. So I'm just going to fill in the darker flecks, just so we know where they all are, and then we can refine it. Right, so I'm looking at markers here, so we've got this little line coming through the middle, and then underneath we've got a bit of a dark bit here. So whatever makes it easier to sort of work out where the bits are. Got a darker bit here. And then under his chin there. Because I've got quite a dark bit coming down the side here, so I'm just going to we've got the 2 lines there. I won't come down much further actually, because I'll be coming off the screen there. So if we just come down to this bit here then, just making sure everything's in its right place. I mean, I might be a bit off here and there, but I like to think I'm getting it all in the right. I'm not going to do it exactly like the photo, but I'd like everything to be in the right place at least. I think that's okay. There it goes off this way. Got a few funny shapes. Okay, so I think we'll just concentrate on this area then. A bit more up there under his chin. Right, so now we've got the markings, or the darker markings in, let's do the lighter fur now. So I've got the warm grey one just as a base. I'm just going to fill the rest of the area in. Doesn't matter if we go into the cocoa, it all needs darkening up anyway. Just need to watch the direction of the fur. We've got loads of sort of flicky off hairs up the side here. Should I say fur? Right, so now let's add a bit of cream to the lighter fur. So I've got the ivory here, so we just gradually build up the warmth in the lighter fur. So this is quite a light colour. We'll just take it off that grey colour, and then we'll add some other colours in. So it's quite light over this side. So just put a bit of this ivory in. I don't want to go any further down off the screen, so I'm going to put it over here as well, not all over, but you know, just a little bit here and there, just to give it a bit more variety rather than just the warm grey one. We need to put a bit in here actually under his cheek. See, it's quite a mild colour. But once we get the darker bits in, because obviously the brown bits need darkening up, it will show up a little bit more there. So I've just grabbed my sepia 10, the nice sort of mauvey brown colour. We've got this sort of colour just under the chin here. So this is the Luminance sepia 10. Okay, and I might put a little bit on under the darker bits as well, where the fur breaks in the middle here. and a bit here, so just down the middle really. And I might put a bit of that up here as well. It'll just soften everything. And this colour would be quite good over here, I think. I'll just flick a few bits off at the side here where it's all fluffy kitten fur. So I'll add a bit more of a creamy colour. It's got the brown ochre 10% now, just to add a bit more cream. I don't need a lot of this. I think that's it for this one. I was going to switch to the walnut brown so we can darken up some areas. I'm going over the cocoa. Just start refining these darker areas. I just gradually build these layers up. I might add a bit of burnt sienna in here just to warm it up a bit. grab my burnt sienna. Just lightly put a bit of this in here. We don't need a lot of it, obviously, because it's quite a bright colour. So I've got the sepia 10 back. I want to add a bit more of this colour in places. So it's quite a long fur down here. It sort of comes down and then flicks up. So this sepia 10 is working quite nicely. And we can add a bit more detail with the Tombow or even the slice tool. But we need enough layers down, especially for the slice tool anyway. Put a bit of purple down these whiter bits. I might add a bit of warm earth, 5% as well actually. I've got the warm earth 5% and it will just go nicely over the burnt sienna. Just want to put a bit more something there. I'm wondering if the brown ochre 10, there you are, I've got the brown ochre 10 back just to give this a bit more colour in here. And a bit under here as well. I'm going to go back to my warm earth 5 and just put a bit more of that up here. It just warms the fur up in places. You can see there's different colours coming through. And this is what brings the realism through, putting the colours in and getting the right depth and making sure your darks are dark enough. Put a bit more of that down here, and then I think we'll darken up where we last put the walnut brown in. So I think the next one would be good to put in is a bit of the dark sepia now. So back to the Polychromes. Just trying to find my dark sepia. It's in one of those extenders, there we are. So yeah, I have to remember the colour of the extender to find the pen I want. Right, so let's darken up where we've just done the walnut brown. So I've got the dark sepia. We may need to add a bit of black in places. As always, it's always good to do light pressure, just gradually build it up. Let's just soften that off there a little bit more. So let's come to the side. Dark area there. Okay, let's give that a brush down. Just want to add a bit more dark sepia down this side. Okay, I think what would be good now then, I'm just going to get the ivy actually and just go over the lighter bits again. Now I've got a bit more darker in. I'm going to get the Tombow out. Okay, I'm going to grab the Tombow, get it clean, and then let's add some lighter fur bits. So coming over here, just lighten some areas. like having a white pencil. I'm just going to grab my warm grey one back and just fill in some of these rubber lines I've just put in, just so it's nice and soft. Going to grab my dark sepia back and just darken a couple of bits. Right, so let's concentrate on over here then. So I'm going to start with the warm grey 2 and do this lighter bit coming through here, and then we can actually a bit up there as well, and then we can do the darker bit. So as I say, I've got the warm grey 2, now just looking at my markings, now that's a darker bit, so it's in here that's the lighter bit. So we're going to work pretty much the same as what we did over here. Just get the layers and the colours in, and then we can add a bit of detail with the Tombow. I pretty much use the same colours, I would think, actually. I think we've got our colours set for this, so we might as well keep on with it. Now let's just see, I don't want to come off the screen either. So we've got a dark, just working out where I am with the lighter bit. Oh, I see where we are, yeah. Come down a bit further. And then we've got a darker bit there. So I don't want to go all the way up with this, because as you can see it gets darker. I will put a little bit on this little fringe here, because you can see it underneath the darker bits. It's like that fur when they're like puppies or kittens, they haven't quite grown into their fur. So it's sort of long in places and short in others. So it's like a 2-length fur going on. Okay, I think that'll be enough for the lighter bit up on this area then. So actually let's have a look up here. We've got these little circle bits that are lighter, so we put them in. And then I'm going to go with the cocoa. That was a nice colour for the base. So let's get the darker bit in now. I'm just coming around those little shapes there. Obviously the fur's going this way now. My pencil's a little bit too sharp really. I've just started this clip and I was looking forever trying to find my cocoa pencil, so I ended up having to get another one out because I just can't find it. It's literally just vanished, so I've had to find another one, but of course it's a bit too sharp, but we'll be fine, we'll make do with it. I don't understand where these pencils just disappear. Doing this dark bit down here. And as we come down further, I'm going to be using my sepia 10 to give it that sort of soft purpley glow. Coming down here, I think that would be nice. Actually, let's put the cocoa in first. So again, I'm not doing the exact same markings as on the photo. I'm not one of these that copy it exactly. Obviously, if it's a commission piece, you need to take more care with the detail. But when it's a drawing like this, obviously get it as close as you can, but I'm not going to sit there making sure I've got every single marking in the right place. That bit's the darker bit there. And then we go into the lighter area. I'm going to come over the top up here a bit actually, and then we go into a cold grey up here. We put that over the top. Right, so I've got another colour here, the brownish beige, another Pablo. Just going to put a bit of that over the cocoa up here. Plus it's helping to soften those lines. I've actually just found my other cocoa and it was actually right in front of me. I don't know how that happens. But there you go. I must have a ghost in the house. Okay, so I think what would be good now then is to darken these darker bits up. So I'm probably going to go with, I'm thinking the dark sepia, to be fair. That seems to be quite a good colour to work with, more than the walnut brown over here. I think it's more of a darker brown over here. It slowly goes up. I don't want to go right up to the top though, because I want to put a cold grey 2 or 3 in at the edge there. Right, so we're coming across his leg up here now. So it comes down and then around. I'll put a few of these dark sepia lines over the lighter bit. But I want to see the lighter bit coming through. And then we've got this dark bit here as well actually. I think I might get the black as well. So I'm going to get the cold grey 3 and just do up here a little bit more. I'm going to bring that over here as well. I want it to be fluffy on the edge here, so I'm just sort of going back and forth. My pencil's about the right tip as well, it's not too sharp, so it's quite fluffy on the edge here. It comes down to about the middle of his back. Okay, so I don't want to go any further there. Might put a few bits down here as well. I'm going to go back to the dark sepia because I just want to add a bit more brown up here. I might add a bit of black. We'll see how this goes. I'm just adding another layer of the dark sepia. Let's see how we go. And it starts getting light as we go down there. A bit more here. Okay, let's do a bit more down here. I'm going to go back to the warm earth, not the warm earth, the warm grey, sorry, 2. Warm grey 2. And this is all very fluffy over here. I think that's the start of the leg there. Well, now switching to the beige in the Pablo, and let's do a bit of detail on this lighter area. So just do up to here, which is at the top of the, I think it's, yeah, it's his top of the back leg there. Right, what I want to do actually, got the Tombow here obviously, I want to just shape it a bit better around here. I just want to bring this out a little bit more. We kind of lost the shape here, so it comes out a bit more at the bottom here. And then I'm going to grab my walnut brown and just sort of try and mould that a bit better. I'm going to grab my dark sepia and just darken up the top of this bit here. And then this bit needs to go in a little bit more. So just minor adjustments. It's quite dark here, and then it goes over. To bring that over a bit more. Okay, I think that looks a bit better. It doesn't take much to change it a little bit there. Now I'm just going to do the edging of that. I think a bit of the brown ochre back with the Polychromes just to give it that little tinge at the end there. That's it, and then I'm going to get the black. Just to darken it up behind the ear there. Just got the dark sepia, and I just want to add a bit more to these bits here, a little detail here. Okay, and then a bit of brown ochre, 10% actually, just to make things a bit more creamier looking. Got the sepia 10%. Just want to add a bit more of that colour in places, coming down here. And then joining some of that up with this darker bit. And then let's put a bit coming down here. And then we've got a little dark bit here that does need darkening up. So let's just go in with the dark sepia, this little patch here. And then we've got some little bits, little flicks there. Okay, I think we're pretty much there with this bit. Actually, I could do with a bit more darker flicks of fur coming up here. I don't want to eliminate the cold grey free, but it's got these little flicks coming over the top. We've got this dark bit here, and it slowly goes into the lighter bit. Now I might put a bit of, trying Trying to think what colour would be good. A warmer colour. Just coming down this little bit here. Not quite sure what colour I want. Got a bit of burnt sienna down here, but I don't think that's the colour I'm looking for. Right, so I've had a look. So I've got a bit of burnt ochre here, and I might do a bit of the brown ochre, just a little bit, sort of like a browny orange. Only little flecks of it, but you can just see it and it makes all the difference. And then that will meet up over to this bit here. And it's just a dash of colour, as I say, that makes all the difference there. And then I've got the brown ochre. I'll just put a bit of that in as well. Put a bit of that up here. So it's got quite a mottled colour to his fur, so we've got little changes of colour going on. Let's put a bit of that over here. And that's all it needs. Don't want to overdo it and make it go a funny colour. Okay, so I've just moved the picture up a little bit. So I've got the cocoa back. So let's come down here and fill in the darker bit here. So we've got like a funny little shape going on. The fur sort of comes up. It sort of goes all directions. So we haven't got his front legs in this picture, it's just coming down the front of the, I think these are just the start of the two front legs here. And then, yeah, this is a darker bit here, and then it joins up at the side there. Give that another coat of the cocoa there, and then we've got a bit more of it down here. Bit of it there, and then that joins a bit more of the sepia 10 there. I think that's all we need with the cocoa. There's a bit down here. Okay, that's fine then. So let's add a bit of the burnt ochre and burnt sienna. So I've got the burnt ochre, we've got a bit of an orangey bit coming on just down here again. You see a little touch of it there. And then we'll switch to the burnt sienna. I think that's all that needs. Let's switch to the walnut brown. It's quite a warm brown down here. So I'm literally just copying the shapes that I'm seeing on the reference photo. before we go any further with that, I think it'd be good to do the lighter bit now. I think the warm grey one would be better than the two. So I've got the warm grey one. So we've got all different directions going on here. So I've got the brown ochre 10%. Let's add a bit more colour in this lighter fur. Add a bit more cream. Okay, we don't want to add too much. I think that's probably enough. So going back to the beige now in the Pablo, let's add a bit more detail. I'm just looking at the direction of the fur. So there's quite a few changes of fur around here. Okay, so let's darken the darker bit up. So I'm going to go to the dark sepia. Put a couple of dark shadows in this lighter area there. Just going back to the walnut brown, just add a bit more of that colour as well. Going to add a bit more of the dark sepia just to darken it a little bit more. Okay, and then I think the Tombow, just to do some lighter fur bits. I'm going to get my warm grey one. Can't get that out. Let's just get my stubborn bit of dust there. Pencil. So I've got the warm grey one. Just go over this bit again. Before we just finish this little area here is back leg. I've got the light beige here. Just looking at this line art here, this is how far the flicks of fur are coming out, so I'm just going to add a bit more and get shorter as they come down. I mustn't forget his little whiskers, but I'll probably do that when it's complete. I'll do the other one. So actually I was going to go to the beige next, the one next to the light beige. So I've got the beige here, and I just need to add a bit more depth on this side. Just add a bit more to that light fur there. Okay, and then I'm going to add some lovely sepia, the Luminance sepia 10%. bring that down a bit further. Thinking I could add a bit of a slice tool as well, just to put a few more details in. But before I do that, I just want to get the black just to darken a little bit further, like down here, and then we'll get the slice tool out. Give it a bit more depth there. So let's get the slice tool and just do a few little flicks of the for the light fur bits, so very little ones. It just adds a few finer details that the Tombow can't do. Give that a brush there. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't want to overdo it. You can sometimes overdo it with the slice tool and it can look a bit messy. So I'm just going to try and find my warm grey one. Oh, there you are. And I'm just going to go over some of the lines just so they don't look too sharp, and just sort of blend them back a bit. And that'll be fine. So while I've got the warm grey one, let's do this back leg. So it's quite light. So let's just fill it all in. It's quite a fluffy little leg. And then it comes down this way, so just check your direction. I'm going to switch to the brown ochre 10% now, put a bit of cream in. Just a little bit there. And put a bit over here. I'm literally just putting a very tiny bit in. Okay, so let's refine that a bit more. Let's go to the light beige. Right, so we got this bit, which is part of his tummy there. Let's come over to the foot. see the line art underneath at the moment, so it looks a bit rough. And then we've got a load of fur hanging down here. And the inside of his foot here is a bit darker coming down. Let's grab the sepia 10% again. I need to bring this down a bit further. And let's put some on his foot here. I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, I've just zoomed out and put a bit of paper underneath, just to sort of take the line art away so we can see if we've put in enough detail, especially around this lighter area. So yeah, sometimes it's always good to just put something in front of the, you know, the line art, just to see if you've got enough pencil down. So yeah, I think that's okay for the kitten then. So I think in the next part we'll start with the mother kitten, the mother cat. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one.